Hi, I'm Ken from Meyers RV Superstores, and today we'd like to spend a few minutes talking about electricity. We don't expect people who buy an RV to be an electrician, but some working knowledge of what you're going to be faced. And I usually get these questions when I'm doing show-throughs. I'm one of the show-through people here. So let's see if we can spend a few minutes and try to keep this in layman's terms. So if there's any electricians out there, pardon me, but we'll try to keep this for the general public. So the first thing we find out when we buy an RV is what kind of power we need to supply the coach. And generally RVs come in two flavors. One is called 50 amp and one is called 30 amp. And most campgrounds will have 30, many campgrounds will have 50. Not to worry if they don't have 50 and you have a 50 amp rated coach, because you can adapt to that situation. So first I want to show you the plugs. So this is typically what the plug looks like on most coaches that are 30 amp. Now a lot of people don't have this kind of plug at home, so what you can do if you keep your RV at your home or someplace where you can at least keep it plugged in if it's in a storage area, you can adapt it to a house style circuit by simply applying, we kind of refer to this as a hockey puck. You might notice that this is a plug like you'd see on any appliance at home. So by plugging this into this, then you can plug in to your home electricity and you can at least keep your coach powered up, keep the batteries charged up. I'd be very careful about trying to run something high draw like your air conditioner, or maybe even the electric hot water heater if you have electric hot water, or even an electric space heater. If you do an awful lot of draw on this, that can be a point at which you're kind of what they call browning out. You're not giving the coach the full power it needs to operate properly. Now that brings me to the topic of when we plug into any of these, 20 amp, 30 amp, or even 50 amp at a campground, here's the thing you have to realize. Just because you're plugged into any of these sources, what you're looking for is 50 amps at least 110 volts, or 30 amps at 110 volts, or even 20 amps at 110 volts. The question is, are you actually getting that at the source where you plug in? So this is what we recommend to people, is today they have a thing called a surge protector. They come in 30 amp and 50 amp. And it's just a box, and I'm going to use this one right here because I think the camera will pick up the look of it. This will plug into the wall plug or the post plug at your campsite. And then you plug into it. If the surge protector is a 50 amp for a 50 amp coach or a 30 amp for a 30 amp coach, not to worry, because if you have a 50 amp coach and a 50 amp surge protector, you can adapt that 50 amp surge protector with this plug. This is what would be on the end of your surge protector. You can use these adapters, we call them pigtails. Simply plug them in and you can adapt down to 30 amps. Now the surge protector, this particular kind, they're automatic. What they do is they sense the power coming in, they look for line voltage error, they look for overcurrent, what they call line and neutral reverse, something wrong with the wiring, perhaps a missing ground, or a surge protection, something in the feed system from the utility is surging, putting too much power out. These will automatically sense it and cut off the line to your coach. You don't even have to think about it. And this is fairly new. These surge protectors you can actually monitor on a phone or an iPad. So this is kind of a neat thing if you're even not around your coach. The first time I used my surge protector at a 5-star resort, there was some kind of a power mishap. When I came back, I noticed by looking at the surge protector, at that time they didn't have the ones on the phone, Had I had that one, I would have known while I was away from my coach that the surge protector depowered my coach. Now what these things will do is they will depower your coach, and then when it's safe to turn back on, they will automatically come back on. So this is very important to have, particularly for surge issues. Now the reason we really have to today pretty much suggest to everybody that you get a surge protector is that all the appliances in your RV today, your televisions, your refrigerator, they all have microcircuits. And microcircuits, they really do not tolerate surges or changes in power levels very well. This is true of a furnace in your home. You could lose your heat in your home because a panel went out, one of the small panels with the circuitry in them. So it's really important to do that. As well, these devices not only will monitor how much power you're getting, whether it should continue to keep your coach online or not, but there's even a frequency, 60 hertz, which is a wavelength, so we don't want to get too complicated, but be it sufficient to say that your phones, your iPads, and your computers, they not only like electricity at a certain level, but at a certain frequency. So it's really important to get one of these on your coach as soon as possible after you purchase. So one other thing is these surge protectors will generally tell you, now on mine I can go outside and look at mine and it will tell you how much is coming in and if it's safe. Now the next question is, once you're inside your RV and you start turning things on, how much power are you using or how much power do you have left? Are you maintaining a safe voltage level? Well, the next thing that we offer are these little voltage meters. And you really don't have to be a scientist to understand them. This one has a needle, and basically turning things on in your RV, just plug this in a plug that you can kind of keep an eye on as you're walking around. And that one, just keep the needle in the green. If the needle is below 110, if it starts to fall out of the safe level, time to turn things off. For example, that 1500 watt electric water heater. You could simply be running a coffee pot a lot or occasionally running a hairdryer while you've got something else turned on. So you kind of have to manage your power. This isn't like your house with a 200 amp service or more. This one is actually a digital one, and it'll actually tell you if something's wrong, sort of like the surge protector. It actually kind of tells you what the number is of the power available in the coach at that moment, but it even gives you some indication of things like a polarity problem, what they call for the electricians an open neutral or an open ground. If there's some issue in the coach where something's wrong, that'll at least give an indication. So if you're getting service help, that would help them know what could be going on. It's sort of like the computer input on your car that gives you an error code. So this one's pretty easy because it's just a needle, keep it in the green. So these are, in my estimation, a must-have. Now one more thing, going back to our plugs here again, once in a while people will ask me, well gee, could I have a plug like this wired at my home? And the answer is yes. This is the 30 amp plug. Electricians will generally recognize this without a problem. The problem comes when electricians aren't familiar with RVs and we get to this plug. People will look at this plug and say, electricians and people who have perhaps an electric dryer at home, oh, well, this is a 220 or a 240 plug. Well, yes, it looks like that, but power-wise for your coach, we don't want to be running 220 or 240 into your coach. The difference is, while this looks like one of the higher power sources, it's actually split between two circuits. So your surge protector might show you, if you look at the display, it'll say L1 and give you a readout, and then it'll go to L2, line 2, and give you a readout. So we have two 120s or two 110 lines coming in, but they are not together. They will not be 220 to 240 volts. Electricians occasionally don't realize that. Somebody calls them up and says, can you wire a plug at my garage or in my house for a 50 amp coach? And they think it's like a dryer, and if you plug it in, bad things can happen, and it's a very expensive repair. So make sure if you're hiring an electrician to wire one of these plugs, you have them call us and talk to our service people to make sure they understand exactly how this is to be wired so they don't cross the line. So we hope we take the mystery out of some of this stuff. Basically, all you have to know is what this plugs into, and should you not find this and you need it, but they don't have it, you simply plug this one in and you've gone to an adapt. Hope that helps you. If you have any questions, by all means, call us. Meyers RV Superstores. Be happy to answer your questions. See you next time.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe, check out our description below for more information, and if you're looking for your next camper purchase, please consider Meyers RV for your next investment. Thanks again, we'll see you next time.